Daniel wrapped the container tightly and placed it in his worn backpack, as he suspiciously looks around in fear. What he did not know was that someone was watching him. Angela stood in the shadows near the office. She was 25 years old, beautiful, with long dark hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She owned the Cubana Restaurant, having inherited it from her late father just 2 years ago. Since then, she had worked hard to make it one of the best restaurants in Lagos. She had noticed Daniel acting strangely for weeks now. He always insisted on staying late, always volunteered to lock up, and always left through the back door instead of the front like everyone else. Tonight, she had decided to find out why. From her hiding spot, she had watched everything. She saw him take the leftover food from the bins. She saw the shame on his face. She saw him pack it carefully into his bag. Angela's first thought was anger, stealing from her restaurant. She should fire him immediately, but something made her pause. The way he handled the food, the guilty look on his face, the care he took in selecting only what was going to be thrown away anyway. There was something different about this. Instead of confronting him, Angela decided to follow him. She wanted to know where he was taking the food and why. Let's pause on the story. If you're enjoying this story so far, let me know by subscribing to this channel. It helps me tell even more stories like this one. If you've subscribed, let's get back into the story. As Angela followed him, she saw Daniel walk through the dark streets of Lagos. The night air was cool and the streets were quieter now. He lived in a poor neighborhood about 30 minutes away from the restaurant. The houses there were small and crowded together, with rusty roofs and cracked walls. Behind him, Angela followed at a safe distance. She had changed out of her expensive shoes and into simple slippers so she could walk quietly. She felt nervous walking through these streets. She had grown up in a big mansion in a wealthy part of the city and rarely came to places like this. Finally, Daniel stopped in front of a small, rundown house. The paint was peeling off the walls, and the roof looked like it might leak when it rained. He pushed open the creaky wooden door and went inside. Angela crept closer. Through the window, she could see everything. Inside the tiny room, an old woman sat on a mat on the floor. She looked to be about 70 years old, with white hair and a face full of wrinkles. Her clothes were old and patched in many places. She looked weak and tired. "Mama, I am home," Daniel said softly as he entered. The old woman's face lit up when she saw him. "Daniel, my son, you have returned." "Yes, Mama, and I brought food for you." Daniel knelt beside her and began unpacking the container from his bag. He laid out the rice, the chicken, and the vegetables on a clean plate. "You must eat first, Daniel," the old woman said. "You work so hard all day." "No, Mama, you need the food more than I do. You did not eat much this morning." Daniel began feeding her gently, putting small pieces of chicken and rice to her mouth. The old woman chewed slowly, her eyes full of gratitude. "You are too good to me, Daniel. I do not deserve such kindness." "Do not say that, Mama. You deserve everything good in this world." Outside the window, Angela watched with wide eyes. Tears began forming as she saw how gentle and caring Daniel was with this old woman. She watched him feed her piece by piece, making sure she ate enough. She watched him smile at her and wipe her mouth with a cloth. She watched the love between them. But who was this old woman, and why was Daniel taking care of her? Angela's foot accidentally kicked a small stone. It made a noise. Daniel's head shot up. He turned toward the window and saw a figure standing there in the darkness. His heart stopped. Someone had followed him. Someone knew his secret. He jumped up and ran to the door, throwing it open. There stood Angela, his boss, with tears running down her cheeks. Daniel's face went pale. "Madam Angela, I can explain. Please do not fire me." He fell to his knees right there in the doorway. "I know what I did was wrong. I know taking the food was stealing. But please, I beg you, do not take away my job. This old woman, she has no one else. She is sick and weak. I cannot afford to buy food for both of us on my salary. The food was going to be thrown away anyway, and I thought. His voice broke, and tears began falling from his eyes. "Please, madam, punish me however you want. Cut my salary. make me work extra hours, but please let me keep my job. This old woman will die without help. I am all she has." Angela stood there, unable to speak. Her own tears were flowing freely now. She had never seen such love, such sacrifice. This young man was risking everything to care for someone who was not even his family. "Daniel," she finally said, her voice shaking, "please stand up. You do not need to beg." Daniel stood slowly, his whole body trembling. He was sure he was about to lose everything. Angela walked past him into the small house. She approached the old woman, who was watching everything with worried eyes. "Good evening, Mama," Angela said softly, kneeling beside her. "My name is Angela. I am Daniel's boss at the restaurant." The old woman looked frightened. "Please, do not punish the boy. He is only trying to help an old, useless woman like me. If anyone should be punished, it should be me for being such a burden." "No, no," Angela said, taking the old woman's wrinkled hand in hers. "No one is being punished. I just want to understand. Daniel, who is this woman? Is she your grandmother?" Daniel shook his head. "No, madam. I met her 5 years ago, right after I finished business school." "You went to business school?" Angela asked, surprised. "Yes, madam. I studied business management, but when I graduated, I could not find a good job, so I took the dishwashing job at your restaurant just to survive." Daniel sat down on the floor near them. "One day, 5 years ago, I was walking home when I saw this old woman standing in the middle of the busy road. Cars were honking at her, but she just stood there with her arms spread out, like she wanted them to hit her." The old woman closed her eyes, remembering that terrible day. "I ran into the road and pulled her to safety," Daniel continued. "When I asked her why she did that, she said she wanted to die. She said her life was too painful, too full of shame. She had nowhere to live, nothing to eat, and no one who cared if she lived or died." Angela listened carefully, her heart breaking with every word. "I could not just leave her there," Daniel said, "so I brought her to my small room. I shared my food with her. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. She became like family to me, the only family I have. My own parents died when I was young." "Daniel is an angel sent from heaven," the old woman said, her voice weak but full of emotion. "I was ready to die, but he gave me a reason to live. Every day he works so hard. Every night he brings me food. He never complains. He never makes me feel like a burden, even though I know I am." "You are not a burden, Mama," Daniel said firmly. Angela wiped her tears. "Mama, can I ask you something? Why did you want to end your life that day? What happened to you?" The old woman was quiet for a long moment. Her eyes became distant, as if she was looking back into a painful past. "I was not always poor," she began. "Many years ago, I worked as a house help for a very rich man, a billionaire who lived in a huge mansion. I cleaned his house, cooked his food, washed his clothes. He was kind to me at first. He paid me well and treated me with respect." She paused, taking a shaky breath. "But then something happened. He took advantage of me. I became pregnant with his child. When I told him, he was angry. He said I was trying to trap him, trying to get his money. I told him I only wanted him to take responsibility for the child." Angela felt her heart beating faster. Something about this story felt familiar. "He refused to marry me," the old woman continued. "He said I was just a poor house help, not worthy to be his wife. But he also did not want people to know about the child. So he made me a deal. He said I should give birth to the baby and then leave the baby with him. He would raise the child as his own and give people some story about the child's mother. In exchange, he would give me 1 million naira and tell me to never come back." Tears were streaming down the old woman's face now. "I did not want to do it. I wanted to keep my baby, but he threatened me. He said if I refused, he would make sure I never worked anywhere in Lagos again. He would tell everyone I was a thief and a liar. I was so scared. I was poor and had no education. Who would believe me over a billionaire?" Angela's hands were shaking. She could barely breathe. "So I agreed," the old woman said. "I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She had the most perfect little face. For 2 days I held her in my arms, I fed her, I sang to her, I memorized every part of her beautiful face. And then he took her away from me. He gave me the money and told me to leave and never return. What did you do with the money? Angela whispered. I tried to start a small business, the old woman said, but I did not know anything about business. People cheated me. The money was gone within 2 years. I became a beggar on the streets. For years and years I suffered, but the worst pain was not the poverty. It was the pain of losing my daughter. Every day I wondered about her. Was she happy? Was she healthy? Did she know her mother had not wanted to abandon her? The old woman looked up at Angela. I named her Angela. It means messenger of God. I named her that because even though I had to give her up, I believed God would take care of her. It was the only comfort I had. Angela's entire body went cold. Angela, her name was Angela. Mama, Angela said, her voice barely a whisper. What year was your baby born? The old woman thought for a moment. It was 1999, November 15th, 1999. Angela's hands flew to her mouth. November 15th, 1999, that was her birthday, the exact same day. Mama, what was the billionaire's name, the man you worked for? His name was Chief Okafor, the old woman said. Chief Christopher Okafor. Angela felt like the whole world was spinning. Chief Christopher Okafor, that was her father who had died 2 years ago, her father who had told her all her life that her mother had died giving birth to her. Her father had lied. Mama, Angela said, her voice breaking. Look at me, look at my face carefully. The old woman looked at Angela, really looked at her. She studied the young woman's beautiful features, her eyes, her nose, her smile. Suddenly, the old woman gasped. You look just like I did when I was young, she whispered. Those eyes, that face, it is like looking at myself from 30 years ago. Mama, Angela said, taking both of the old woman's hands. I am Angela, I am your daughter. I am the baby you gave birth to on November 15th, 1999. For a moment, there was complete silence in the small room. Then the old woman began to cry, not quiet tears, but deep, sobbing cries that shook her whole body. My baby, she wept. My Angela, you are alive, you are here, you are so beautiful, so successful. God answered my prayers. God kept you safe all these years. Angela threw her arms around her mother. Mama, I am so sorry. I did not know. Father told me you were dead. He told me you died when I was born. I never knew he had sent you away. I never knew you were suffering all these years while I lived in that big mansion. They held each other and cried. Daniel stood to the side, tears running down his own face as he watched the reunion. All this time, Angela sobbed. All this time you were alive and I did not know. You were suffering and I could have helped you. Do not blame yourself, my daughter, her mother said, stroking Angela's hair with her weak hands. How could you have known? You were just a baby. This was not your fault. It was your father's lie, but see how God works. He brought you back to me. Through this kind young man, Daniel, God brought my daughter back to me. Angela turned to look at Daniel. He was standing quietly near the door, giving them space for their reunion. Daniel, Angela said, come here. He approached slowly, not sure what to expect. Angela stood up and looked him in the eyes. For 5 years, you took care of my mother when I did not even know she existed. You fed her, housed her, and gave her a reason to live. You risked your job, your reputation, everything, just to make sure she did not go hungry. How can I ever thank you enough? I did not do it for thanks, madam, Daniel said quietly. I did it because it was the right thing to do. You have a degree in business management, but you are working as a dishwasher, Angela said. Why did you not tell me? Why did you not apply for a better position? Daniel looked embarrassed. I did try, madam. When I first came to the restaurant 3 years ago, I applied for a management position, but the manager at that time said I did not have enough experience. He said I should start at the bottom and work my way up. I have been waiting for a chance to prove myself. Angela shook her head. That manager was a fool. He did not see what was right in front of him. A man with your character, your dedication, and your education should not be washing dishes. She took a deep breath, making a decision that felt absolutely right. Daniel, tomorrow you will no longer be a dishwasher at Cubana Restaurant. Tomorrow You will become the chief executive officer. Daniel's eyes went wide. Madam, I do not understand. I am making you the CEO, Angela said firmly. You will manage the entire restaurant. You have the education for it. You studied business management. And more importantly, you have proven to me that you have something more valuable than any degree. You have integrity. You have compassion. You have the kind of heart that will make you an excellent leader. But madam, I cannot. This is too much. I do not deserve. Yes, you do deserve it, Angela interrupted. You deserve it and so much more. You gave me back my mother. You gave her 5 years of love and care when she had nothing. You are the answer to her prayers and mine. I did not even know I was praying for her, but God knew. And He sent you to take care of her until I could find her. Daniel fell to his knees, completely overwhelmed. Thank you, madam. Thank you. I promise I will work hard. I will make you proud. I will never let you down. I know you will not, Angela said, helping him stand up. And please stop calling me madam. We are family now. You took care of my mother. That makes you family. Angela turned back to her mother. Mama, you are coming home with me tonight. I have a big house, the same mansion where you used to work. It is mine now since father died. You will live there with me. You will have your own room, good food, doctors to take care of your health, everything you need. Her mother was crying again, but these were tears of joy. I cannot believe this is happening. This morning, I woke up thinking I was just a burden on this kind young man. Tonight, I have my daughter back, my beautiful, successful daughter. You are not a burden, Mama, Angela said. You never were, and I am going to spend the rest of my life making up for the years we lost. Angela pulled out her phone and called her driver. Come to this address immediately, she said, giving him the location. Bring the car and be quick. While they waited for the car, Angela sat with her mother and Daniel, asking questions and learning about the 5 years they had spent together. She heard stories of how Daniel had nursed her mother through sicknesses, how he had stayed up late with her when she could not sleep, how he had celebrated her birthdays with whatever little money he had. He is a good boy, her mother kept saying, a very good boy. God sent him to me. When the driver arrived with the Mercedes, the neighbors came out to see what was happening. They watched in amazement as a wealthy young woman helped the poor old woman from their street into the expensive car. Daniel helped too, making sure his mama was comfortable. Daniel, you should come too, Angela said. You can stay in the guest house tonight. But Daniel shook his head. Thank you, but I am fine here. This is my home. I will see you tomorrow at the restaurant. Angela smiled. Yes, tomorrow, your first day as CEO. That night, as the car drove away with Angela and her mother, Daniel stood outside his small house watching them go. He could hardly believe what had happened. His secret had been discovered, but instead of losing his job, he had gained a promotion beyond his wildest dreams, and he had helped reunite a mother and daughter who had been separated for 25 years. He looked up at the stars and whispered a prayer of thanks. The next morning, Daniel arrived at the Cubana Restaurant at his usual early time. But this time, instead of going to the kitchen to wash dishes, he was led to the main office. Angela was already there, waiting for him. Good morning, Daniel, she said with a warm smile. Good morning, Angelus. She laughed. That will take some getting used to, but I am glad you are trying. Now let me show you your new office. She led him to a large, beautiful office with a big desk, comfortable chairs, and a view of the city. On the desk was a nameplate that read, Daniel Adami, Chief Executive Officer. This is all mine, Daniel asked, unable to believe it. Yes, it is all yours. You start today. I will work with you for the first few weeks to help you learn everything you need to know, but I have confidence in you. You are going to do great things here. As the day went on, the other workers at the restaurant were shocked to see Daniel in a suit, working in the main office instead of the kitchen. There were whispers and questions. How did the dishwasher become the CEO overnight? Angela called a meeting of all the staff and explained. She did not tell them the full story about her mother because that was private, but she told them that Daniel had proven himself to be a person of exceptional character and that she had discovered he had a business degree. She said he deserved this opportunity and that she expected everyone to give him the same respect they would give her. Some of the workers were jealous, but most of them were happy for Daniel. He had always been kind to everyone, always willing to help, always treating people with respect, even when he was in the lowest position. They could see he deserved this chance. Daniel worked harder than ever. He studied everything about running the restaurant. He learned about managing staff, ordering supplies, handling finances, and dealing with customers. He used his business school knowledge and combined it with his natural wisdom and kindness. Soon, the restaurant was running better than ever. Meanwhile, Angela took her mother to the hospital for a full checkup. The doctors said she was malnourished and weak, but with proper food, medicine, and care, she would get much stronger. Angela made sure her mother had the best doctors, the best food, and everything she needed to recover. Every evening, Angela would sit with her mother in the mansion, and they would talk for hours. Her mother told her stories about when she was pregnant with her, about the 2 days they had spent together after Angela was born, about all the years of wondering and praying. Angela told her mother about growing up, about her father dying and leaving her the restaurant, about her dreams for the future. "I am so proud of you," her mother would say. "You became such a strong, successful woman, even without me there to guide you." "I wish you had been there," Angela would reply, "but I am grateful we have time now. We have the rest of our lives together." One evening, about a month after that night, when Angela had followed Daniel home, she brought Daniel to the mansion for dinner. Her mother was so happy to see him. "My boy," she said, hugging him, "look at you in your fine suit. You look like a businessman." "I am a businessman now, Mama, thanks to Angela," Daniel said with a smile. They sat together for dinner, the three of them, like a little family. They talked and laughed and shared stories. Angela watched Daniel with her mother and saw the genuine love between them. "Daniel," Angela said during dinner, "I have been thinking about something. You gave up so much to take care of my mother. You lived in poverty when you had the education to do better. You risked everything. I can never fully repay you for that, but I want to try." "You already have," Daniel said. "You made me the CEO. That is more than enough." "No, it is not," Angela said. "That is just a job, and you are earning it every day with your hard work. But I want to do something more. I want to give you shares in the restaurant, 20% ownership. You will not just work for the restaurant, you will be a part owner." Daniel nearly choked on his food. "Angela, no, that is too much." "It is not too much," Angela said firmly. "My father built that restaurant, but he also made terrible choices. He abandoned my mother. He lied to me my whole life. The least I can do is share what he left me with the person who showed my mother more love and care than he ever did." "She is right, Daniel," her mother added. "You deserve this. Please accept it." Daniel had tears in his eyes. "I do not know what to say." "Say yes," Angela said with a smile. "Yes," Daniel whispered. Thank you both." What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you enjoyed this story, like, comment, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.